Chosen one, stop scrolling right now. Don't move. Don't think. Don't let this moment pass, because something just happened in your spirit that your mind hasn't caught up to yet. You paused before you even realized why. Your breath shifted, your attention locked. That wasn't random. That was recognition. Heaven just placed its hand on your shoulder and whispered, "Be still. I am about to name what you have been carrying in silence your entire life." This is not a coincidence. This is not just another message. This is a divine appointment, a holy interruption, a sacred moment where the veil between what you have sensed and what you are about to understand is about to be torn open. You have felt it your whole life, haven't you? That quiet electricity beneath your skin, that deep ocean current in your soul, that unexplainable knowing that you were designed for something the world could not categorize, could not control, could not comprehend. People called it intuition. Psychology labeled it sensitivity. Religion tried to box it into a spiritual gift checklist and told you to stay humble about it, stay quiet about it, stay small about it. But God has a different name for what moves through you. He calls it the blue power. And if your spirit just stirred at those words before your mind could analyze them, that is your confirmation. Because the blue power is not something you discover. It is something you remember. It is not something you learn. It is something you recognize. Like a song you have always known but never heard played out loud until this very moment. Listen closely, because this is not New Age mysticism wrapped in spiritual language. This is ancient divine reality that most believers never access because they were taught to ignore what they feel and only trust what they are told. They were trained to doubt their discernment, question their sensitivity, and apologize for their depth. But you were never wired that way, were you? Your childhood was different. While other kids played in the shallow end, your soul was already swimming in the deep. Your questions went further. Your feelings ran deeper. Your spirit saw things others walked right past. And every single time you tried to fit into normal church boxes or normal life patterns, something inside you resisted, not in rebellion. In recognition, because you were not made to blend in. You were made to carry blue. Now here is what I need you to understand. The blue power is not something you activate like flipping a light switch. It is something you stop suppressing. It has been flowing through you since before you had language to name it, since before you had permission to claim it, since before anyone told you it was okay to acknowledge what heaven placed inside you before the foundations of the world. This is the same sapphire fire that blazed around the throne of God when Ezekiel saw heaven split open, the same blue glory that radiated off Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration when his clothes became white, as light and his presence shook the atmosphere. The same divine frequency that moved through prophets, seers, and carriers of heaven's clarity throughout all of Scripture. Not blue like a color you paint on a wall. Blue like the ocean, deep, powerful, holding mysteries that surface dwellers will never touch, carrying currents that move mountains beneath the waves. Blue like the sky, vast, clear, offering perspective that ground-level thinking cannot comprehend. This is the frequency of divine revelation moving through human vessels. This is the signature of heaven's voice in earthly bodies. This is the pulse of God's clarity in a confused world. And chosen one, you are a vessel. You have always been a vessel. That is why small talk drains you like someone pulling a plug on your energy. That is why you sense people's real intentions beneath their polished words. That is why you walk into rooms and the atmosphere shifts without you saying a single thing. People feel something change, they just cannot name it. That is why betrayal cut you 10 times deeper than it should have. That is why injustice burns in your chest like it is happening to you personally. That is why you cannot unsee what you have seen, or unhear what you have heard, or unfeel what you have felt. The blue power is not just in you, it is you. It is your spiritual DNA, your divine signature, the frequency heaven tuned your soul to before you ever drew breath in this realm. And here is what the enemy does not want you to know. The moment you recognize this power, it begins to flow at full capacity. The moment you stop apologizing for it, it starts moving through you like a river that has been dammed up for decades, suddenly breaking free. That is why hell attacked your identity before you even knew you had an assignment. That is why religion tried to complicate your gift with rules and hierarchies and waiting periods. That is why people closest to you misunderstood your depth and told you that you were too much, too sensitive, too intense, too different. Because if you ever woke up to who you actually are, if you ever stopped shrinking to make others comfortable, if you ever let the blue power flow without apologizing for its intensity, you would move in a way that threatens every single demonic assignment against your generation. But you are waking up right now, aren't you? Something is shifting in your chest as you receive these words. Something is unlocking. Something is rising from depths you did not even know were inside you. That is the blue power recognizing itself. That is heaven confirming what your spirit has always known, but your mind was trained to doubt. And God is saying in this exact moment, my child, I did not bring you to this message by accident. The silence you have walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. The isolation you felt was not rejection, it was protection. I was refining your frequency. I was tuning your spirit. I was guarding this power from being accessed before your character could carry it with humility and your heart could steward it with wisdom. Because power without maturity destroys, authority without humility corrupts. And the blue power you carry is too sacred, too valuable, too necessary to be wielded from flesh or ego or unhealed wounds. So heaven hid it, like Moses was hidden in the desert for 40 years, unknown and unrecognized, probably wondering if God had forgotten him. Like David was hidden in the fields tending sheep while everyone else was being trained for the throne. Like Jesus was hidden in a carpenter's shop for 30 years before anyone knew his name. Heaven hides its carriers until the fullness of time. Heaven protects its blue ones until the moment of unveiling, and chosen one, your moment has come. Not because you finally figured everything out, not because you earned it through perfect behavior, not because you proved yourself worthy by checking every religious box, but because heaven has been counting down to this exact moment since before you were born. The veil is lifting. The season is shifting. The power is rising. And everything you are about to learn in this message is not new information. It is divine confirmation. It is spiritual remembering. It is heaven saying out loud what your soul has been whispering in the quiet. This is your awakening. This is your identity revelation. This is your blue recognition. And it starts right here, right now, in this holy moment where heaven interrupted your day to say, I see you, I have always seen you, and it is time you see what I see when I look at you. Now, chosen one, I want to show you the sacred evidence, not a checklist, but proof that you have been carrying this power all along. The first sign is the sacred misfit. From childhood, something about you never fit. You tried to be like everyone else. But no matter how hard you tried, something in your spirit whispered, this is not who I am. You were the quiet one, the deep one who asked questions that made adults uncomfortable, the one with old eyes that seemed to see through everything. And for years you thought something was wrong with you. But that was never a flaw. That was evidence. God set you apart not to isolate you, but to prepare you while others were content with surface-level living. Your soul was already diving deep. You were not designed for shallow water. You were designed for the deep blue. The second sign is the knowing before the happening. You sense things before they unfold. You feel shifts in people before they speak. You walk into situations and immediately discern what is really happening beneath the surface. This is not paranoia. This is the blue power giving you prophetic sight. The same gift that let Daniel interpret dreams, Joseph read seasons, and Elisha see into hidden rooms. How many times have you said, "I knew that was going to happen," and people looked at you strangely? You did know. Your spirit saw it before your eyes confirmed it. That is the blue power reading life in advance with divine accuracy. Every time you doubted that knowing, every time you ignored the warning in your spirit, you were suppressing the very gift God gave you to navigate this realm with heaven's wisdom. But today, you start trusting what you know before you can prove why you know it. The third sign is the atmosphere shifter. When you walk into a room, something changes. Not because you are performing, but because divine presence moves with you. You have felt it. The way chaos calms in your proximity, the way difficult people soften around you without you saying a word, that is not charisma. That is the blue power radiating from your spirit. When Jesus entered the storm, the wind recognized authority and stopped. When Peter's shadow fell on the sick, they were healed. The blue power shifts atmospheres, silences chaos, brings order through pure presence infused with heaven's frequency. If people feel comfortable telling you their deepest secrets, if rooms change when you show up, if your presence carries unexplainable weight, now you know why. It is heaven's atmosphere colliding with earthly space through you. The fourth sign is the depth that hurts and heals. You feel everything deeper than most people. Pain, beauty, injustice, love. Your emotional receptors are tuned to a frequency most cannot access. They called you too sensitive, too emotional, too much. But God wired your heart with extra capacity for a reason. The blue power flows through empathy. It requires a soul deep enough to hold what others carry. You cry at things others scroll past. You hurt for people you have never met. You feel the world's brokenness like your own. That is not weakness. That is your power source. You cannot minister healing without feeling pain. You cannot carry justice without sensing injustice. The blue power makes you a feeler, a carrier, a vessel deep enough to hold heaven's heart for a broken world. The fifth sign is the attack that proved the assignment. Your life has been harder than it should have been. Betrayals from those you trusted. Delays when breakthrough seemed close. Spiritual warfare so intense it felt targeted. Here is why. Hell attacks what heaven assigns. Before you knew who you were, demons recognized what you carried. The intensity of your battle is directly connected to the importance of your calling. If you survived betrayal that should have destroyed you, walked through valleys that should have buried you, endured attacks that should have taken you out, you were not just lucky, you were protected, preserved, kept. Your warfare confirmed your worth. Your battles proved your calling. Your survival is evidence that the blue power inside you is greater than the darkness arrayed against you. Now, let me tell you why this power was hidden for so long. Why it took years of silence, seasons of confusion, and moments where you felt completely forgotten by heaven. Because heaven moves in divine timing, not human urgency. You were being prepared in the dark. Your character was being forged in the furnace. Your capacity was being stretched in the waiting. God was not punishing you with the delay. He was protecting you from premature exposure. Because if you had walked in this blue power before your soul was ready, you would have wielded it from flesh instead of spirit. You would have used it for ego instead of kingdom. You would have accessed supernatural authority without the humility required to steward it correctly. And power without maturity is dangerous. Authority without character is destructive. Anointing without brokenness becomes arrogance. So God hid you, like he hid Moses for 40 years, teaching him in obscurity what he would need for visibility. Like he hid David in fields, building the worshipper before revealing the warrior. Like he hid Jesus for 3 decades, letting the man mature before the ministry manifested. Heaven does not rush its blue ones. It refines them. It does not promote prematurely. It prepares precisely. And every year you spent feeling overlooked. Every season you endured in silence. Every moment you wondered if God had forgotten. Heaven was actually building something in you that could not be built any other way. Now the veil is lifting. Now the womb of preparation is opening. Now heaven is declaring, it is time. The hiding season is over. The refining is complete. The character has been tested and proven, and the blue power that has been flowing beneath the surface of your life is about to break through with a force that will shift everything. But chosen one, there is a war over your identity. The enemy does not care about your money or success. What terrifies hell is your blue power, your divine clarity, your ability to speak truth, your gift to bring light into darkness. That is why the attacks have been so targeted. He goes after your voice with fear, your mind with doubt, your rest with exhaustion. He brings distractions, delays, discouragement, because if you ever wake up fully to who you are, you will move in a way that breaks chains off people hell has held captive for generations. The blue power is spiritual. It cannot be bought, learned, or transferred. It must be unlocked, and that unlocking starts with awareness. The moment you see yourself as God sees you, everything changes. So the enemy builds walls around your mind, lies about your worth, fear about your future, shame about your past. But God is tearing those walls down right now. The chains are falling, the fog is lifting, because heaven has decided no more delay. So let me show you how to walk in this, how to let the blue power flow without suppression or apology. It is simpler than religion made it and deeper than the world can understand. It starts with stillness, not the silence of shutting down, the silence of surrender. Find a place where heaven can reach you without competition from the noise. Turn off the voices that told you who you are not. Breathe until your spirit settles into the presence of the one who actually knows you, and simply say, God, I am here. Show me what you see in me. That is not begging. That is not pleading. That is alignment. That is a soul positioning itself to receive what heaven has been waiting to reveal. Feel that shift in your chest right now. That is heaven responding. That is the blue power recognizing that you finally see it, acknowledge it, welcome it. Next comes declaration. Not shouting to convince yourself, quiet authority that agrees with heaven's truth over hell's lies. You spent years being silent about who you are because fear told you that claiming your identity was pride. But there is a difference between arrogance and agreement. Arrogance says, look at me, I am powerful. Agreement says, I see what God placed in me, and I will no longer pretend it is not there, so speak it once. Let it settle deep. Let heaven record it. Let your spirit anchor to it. The blue power of God lives in me. I carry heaven's clarity in a confused world. I walk in divine authority, not human permission. What God placed in me, no force in hell can remove from me. Say it, and feel the atmosphere shift. Because words have power. And when you speak alignment with heaven's design for your life, creation itself responds. Then comes movement. The blue power does not stay in meditation. It moves into mission. So take one step you have been avoiding. Have one conversation you have been postponing. Make one decision you have been delaying. Not because you have everything figured out, not because the path is perfectly clear, but because you trust the blue power flowing through you to guide your next step, even when you cannot see the full staircase. God does not need your perfection. He needs your willingness. He does not require you to have all the answers. He requires you to move when heaven says move. And chosen one, you just activated something that cannot be deactivated. You can ignore it, but you cannot undo it. You can suppress it, but you cannot erase it. The blue power is awake, and it is about to show you what happens when a soul finally says yes to its original design. When you begin to walk in this power, watch what happens. Doors open without you knocking. People are drawn without you performing. Strategies flow without you striving. Not because you are manipulating outcomes, but because you are finally aligned with the frequency. Heaven has been broadcasting over your life since before you were born. Your inner world will stabilize. Your emotions will stop hijacking your discernment. Your mind will clear like fog, lifting off the ocean at sunrise. You will begin to see situations with a clarity that makes others wonder how you know things they cannot see. Your voice will carry weight in the spirit realm. When you speak truth, it will land differently than it used to. When you pray, you will feel the shift in the atmosphere. When you declare heaven's reality over earthly chaos, you will watch circumstances bend toward the frequency you are releasing. You will begin to shift rooms just by being present, not trying to dominate, not forcing attention. Just carrying the blue current of heaven's presence wherever you go. People will feel peace around you without knowing why. Confusion will clear in your proximity, and you will finally understand what it means to be a thermostat instead of a thermometer. Most importantly, you will feel like yourself, not the version you performed to survive in systems that were never designed for people like you. Not the shrunk down, dimmed down, toned down version you became to make others comfortable, but the radiant, clear, powerful soul God, made before life got loud, before religion got complicated, before fear taught you to hide. That is what this is really about. Chosen one, not becoming someone new, becoming the real you. The version heaven saw when God said, "Let us make them in our image," and breathed blue into your spirit before you ever entered this realm. And there are no coincidences in the kingdom. If you have made it this far in this message, then you need to hear this next part, not with your ears, but with your soul. This is your moment, not tomorrow when you feel more ready. Not someday when everything aligns perfectly. Not once you have figured out every detail right now. In the stillness of this sacred moment, heaven is calling your name. God has been whispering to your spirit, tugging at your heart, aligning your steps, even when you could not see the full picture. You did not randomly find this message. You were divinely led here because your season of delay is over. Your season of hiding is finished. Your season of spiritual warfare without clarity has ended. The veil is lifting, and the voice of God is saying, "My child, the power I placed in you is ready to rise." Stop doubting what I have already confirmed. Stop waiting for permission from people who do not understand your assignment. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces I never designed you to occupy. You are my chosen one. Walk in it. We often wait for permission from people, from systems, from our own past. But when God calls, no one else needs to validate you. You do not need another sign. You are the sign, you are the proof that heaven still moves, still appoints, still anoints, that God still raises up the unlikely ones, the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the broken and bruised ones, that he still breathes purpose into dry bones and calls things that are not as though they already are. And now, your life becomes a message to the world. God still chooses. You have been through enough. You have been refined by fire that should have consumed you. You have carried pain in silence that would have destroyed weaker souls. You have questioned your worth, wondering if there was more for you than what you were experiencing. And today, heaven answers, yes, there is more. There always was, and now it is time. Let me be clear. Walking in this blue power will stretch you. It will require boldness you did not know you had. It will ask you to leave behind old ways of thinking that kept you safe but small. It will require you to stop shrinking for the comfort of others and stop pretending to be less than what heaven designed you to be. Because God did not send you here to blend in. He sent you to shine. And the light in you is not just for your own benefit. It is for the people connected to your calling. They are waiting for your voice, your clarity, your courage, your healing presence. You are the answer to prayers you have never heard. So, chosen one, this is your activation. This is where the old ends and the divine begins. Let this be your declaration today. I will not waste what God has given me. I will not stay silent when heaven has called me to speak. I will not dim my light to keep others comfortable. I will rise. I will step forward. I will walk in the fullness of the blue power inside me, because I was chosen for such a time as this. Let the world misunderstand you. Let people question you. Let the enemy try to rattle you with fear and doubt and accusation. None of it matters, because God has marked you. And when heaven marks you, no human hand can unmark you. No demonic assignment can erase what God has written. No opposition can cancel what heaven has ordained. You are not who you used to be. You are not where you used to be. And you will not return to the version of yourself that was stuck, small, silenced, and settling for less than what heaven prepared. That version has been buried. This is resurrection. This is fire. This is identity. This is divine awakening. So breathe deep, stand tall, and move forward with the confidence of a soul backed by the authority of heaven. Because the time for hiding is over, the time for waiting is finished. The time for activation is now. You were chosen. You carry blue power. And it is time to walk in the fullness of who heaven says you are. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, right now, this moment, this breath, this sacred intersection where heaven meets earth and a soul remembers what it was always meant to be. If this message has touched your heart deeply, if you feel like this was meant specifically for you, if something in your spirit is confirming every word you have heard, then I want you to do something. Subscribe to this channel. This is where heaven is releasing prophetic messages for the chosen ones who are waking up to their true identity. Your support means more than you know. It tells me that these messages are landing in the right hearts. If you ever feel led from your heart, you can also leave a like, share this message with someone who needs to hear it, or support the channel in whatever way heaven guides you. Never required, always appreciated, always received with gratitude. This is your moment. This is your confirmation. This is your activation into the blue power that has been waiting inside you since before the world began. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen.